My guest today is an amazing woman. She has worked with people after catastrophes in war zones and within many different communities. Her work intertwined music, healing, spirituality, and nature and human connection. Drummer, music therapist, author of several books, and founder of upbeat drum circles. She has devoted her life to the rhythm, healing, and creating space where people can connect with themselves and with one another. I have pleasure to welcome Christine Stevens. Welcome, Christine, to the Whispers of the Soul.
Thank you. Thank you for your English.
Thank you.
And I like to say hello in my first language, everybody's first language, music.
Mhm.
So I'm going to use my branch flute in the key of E. This is made by Stephen Rensick in Canada from literally from a deadfall birch tree branch.
Mhm.
And I find that when I travel and
Mhm.
I bring a flute with me always, this is a Native American style flute believed to have been created from the woodpecker and
Oh.
the cedar branch because the origin story of this flute is an animal story, actually, a bird story, bird nation, is that a young man was in love with a woman and she didn't love him back and he left the tribe, a young native person, and went and sat under a cedar tree. And the woodpecker took pity on him and started to peck holes in the branch of the cedar tree. And then the wind blew through those holes, and this young man started to hear a song in the tree branch above him. And he learned that song and he learned to make the flute from the branch. And so the original Native American style flutes are cedar flutes.
Oh.
And that is the beginning of that connection of the song of the birds that we know is permeating all the forests and the plains, and we hear the bird song in the morning, and we all love hearing the bird chorus. And so this scale even comes from very ancient times. It's a pentatonic scale. And I'm just going to play it now for you.
Beautiful. Actually, it tells the story when you play. I could see the story of the nature.
Nice.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Nice. And one of the things about what we want to talk about today has to do with music and sound. And one of the things that's amazing is that the tree is the source of the drum shell,
Mhm.
at the wood base of the root, carved djembes from West Africa. And then the flute is from the branch. So I've always said that the drum is grounding us and the flute is uplifting us. And literally that's how their function is in the tree. The roots, the base of the tree is going down and the branches are going upward. So we feel this like brightness from the flute and we feel this earthiness from the drum. And that's really what we are. We're just a conduit from heaven to earth.
Yeah, and when talking about conduit, it reminds me some path. Do you think that we choose our path or the path is choosing us?
Well, in my case, the path chose me, and I feel like it was choiceless.
Mhm.
You know, I was studied for one career, and then I found the drum circle, and it chose me. So even I had studied 3 years, a whole different career. And I think that's, you hear that from people who are living an inspired life is like, sometimes it doesn't matter what you studied. When you find that thing you're supposed to do, that your soul just lights up, there's not, you have the logical choice is to not do that. I mean, I just studied this career and I should follow it. But at the same time, it's not about logic. And then you follow it. And then in my case, following the drum, and I was told I didn't have rhythm. I almost failed percussion in college. So I really felt there was no way I could play the drum. And it was such a lie that, and I mean, everybody has a drum beat in their heart, So it was like really funny, but I just couldn't play the sticks and I couldn't read the percussion music. But then I got a hand drum. It didn't have anything to do with reading music or, holding sticks. All of a sudden I was playing my hand on the drum and I felt so free and so happy. And my first love was the congas. And then I felt like, wow, this is surprisingly powerful and more powerful than everything I've studied to this moment. So how can you really compare?
It's very interesting how the story someone tells us uh, kind of can can form us if we don't follow our heart, right? Because you were told that
Totally.
you have no rhythm, and now you are the world's best known drum circle facilitator.
I don't know about that, but I definitely, the drum circle facilitation career, it's not like it was in a book or in a newspaper. I had found Arthur Hall and Village Music Circles, and I went to one of his Hawaii trainings, and I came home and I quit my job and started a drum circle company, Upbeat Drum Circles, and I just, people were like, "What are you doing? You have health insurance, you have all these good things and benefits," and I was like, "This is what I'm supposed to do." So thank you, Arthur, for waking that up in me, and Remo Drum Company for hiring me, and then finding that actually it all came full circle because the career I was trained in was social work. And then I started to use drumming in this powerful, disaster areas, peace missions. It just ended up being social work in the end.
Oh. Uh, and you once said that it's not what music does, but it what music undoes. What does music undo in people?
Yeah, it's because we think so much, we're so needy humans. We're always
Mhm.
wanting, wanting, wanting. But actually, what music undoes is that it turns off the part of the brain that's dedicated to self-monitoring and self-judgment. I mean, when you improvise and play drums in a drum circle, or you improvise, and that is what's really important, is that it undoes the self-judgment, the self-criticism, which is actually the larger part of the frontal lobe of the cervical brain. It's larger, actually. When you see the PET scans, you realize, we have two kinds of mechanisms in the brain that we talk about. And this is a lot of Jack Canfill's research on mindfulness-based stress reduction, is that we have the default network, which is
Mhm.
ruminating, self-absorbed, critical,
Mhm.
past, future. Then we have the experiencing network. And when I hand people drums, and there's no sheet music, and we're just playing drums, they get into the experiencing network, which is the enlightened consciousness.
Mm.
So, music and improvisation is a path to get us into that higher mind. It undoes all the self absorbed thinking. We have a saying that you can't really think while you drum. It's not a
Oh,
thinking, because if you think, you lose a beat. And it's like biofeedback. It's like, whoops, where was I? I have to stay present. And that network, the experiencing network, we know we're in that network because we lose time. So if you've ever done something, been somewhere where you just, oh my God, it's already 5, you lose time. And you also experience this like flow state
mhm,
of everything's kind of in rhythm, in
mhm.
sync. I'm in the groove. And you're really present in the experience. Your senses awaken. You're thinking, wow, I never noticed like the sound of this bass drum, or, you start to really, the colors are more rich.
Mhm.
So our senses can awaken in those moments, those kind of luminous experiences. And and I feel like that's why I fell into this drum circle work, because I could see how it benefited me. I could see how everyone in the room was having a great experience, unless they were really, there is that person who has so much anxiety about playing an instrument. And I would just give them a shaker. And then usually by the end, they're in. But then there's also something I saw which is really important. And animals have this too, entrainment, which is
Mhm.
when everyone's playing together. And we get this word from physics, but it's also present in geese flying long distances,
Mhm.
flapping their wings in rhythm. We see it in the V formations. We see it in pelicans. They're just beating at the same pulse because 15% less effort. So when humans get to a place of entrainment and we drum together, we're in this
Mhm.
herd mentality. We're just like, we're galloping together. And nobody has to carry all the load. We just feel this kind of, it becomes more effortless. And I saw that it was a great experience for the individual and also a very important experience for the collective. Our ancestors most
Mhm.
certainly drummed together. I think that's what's happening today is the drum circle's gotten really popular. I don't know in your country if you even hear the word drum circle or sound healing.
Actually, oh, we have sound healing, definitely,
Okay.
but I think we have less drum. At least I didn't hear much about drum circle. The circle I heard first when I found you. It was first time I kind of heard about something like a huge drum circle when people drum together. And yes, of course, I know the Japanese and all the stuff, but I'm not very
Right.
very experienced in this area. So that's why it's exciting to get in know because it's when I hear you drumming, it's amazing. Very often it brings tears into my eyes.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
very deep, it's kind of very nice.
I know it's so primal, and it's like, our understanding of music has just really gotten off into this entertainment and the star, and, but it really comes from the core of communities doing rituals and gatherings. And you made me think of something I wanted to show you today
Mhm, mhm,
or to talk about is the connection between animals and sound and music. And one of the famous sounds that are around the world are the deer hooves or goat hooves, hooves kind of as a rattle, because they are a wet sound. In percussion, we talk about dry sound. Let me see. I think this one is kind of,
mhm.
this is a snake
The
rattle.
snaky.
And then we talk about wet sounds. So this is a deer dance belt from Mexico, and it's worn and the person jumps. So you're creating a deer running in the forest.
It reminds me of horses.
There's a lot of this connection between the animal and speaking of the drum, I have my drum here from Peru, and this drum that I picked up in Cusco has the hummingbird in the top or the north, the snake in the south, the puma on the
Fear.
Yep, and then the condor. As we talk a lot about the eagle is the North America and the condor is the South American power bird, but this one also has a hummingbird. And so, it just reminds me of your work with the animals, because here we have the animals. And what happened to me when I bought this drum, I was playing for a retreat, and I was noticing that when I wanted people to have more strength, I would play kind of more on the puma side of the drum. And this is a cool mallet that has a rattle in it. I don't know, is that coming through okay on the microphone? You can hear it? Because actually the sound of the drum comes through the back. So, and then if I wanted people to have more transformation, the snake, the serpent, more flight, I would play with the condor and with the hummingbird, the joy. And then I would use the center for just this place of the space is the Andean cross in the middle, which honors the Southern Cross. This is the cosmic emptiness, clearing. I'm actually playing wrong-handed, so... But the basic
I don't
idea,
know, so it's fine.
the basic idea about these drums, hand drums, is that they're woven in the back so that you can hold them, and the sound comes through the backside because it has to be open so it can speak, and then you can dance with it, you can walk with it, you can carry it, you can do ceremony with it. It's a hand drum. We can call it the buffalo drum. This one is probably made with cowhide. I don't actually know for sure. Some of the drums in Peru are made with llama hides or alpaca. But I just really love this. The animal drum.
There is beautiful saying, and you know it because it's from your website. The Great Spirit loved the drum so much, he gave everyone a heartbeat. Why do so many people instinctively connect the drum with the heart?
Totally. Well, it's not even just the heart. I mean, we listen to our mother's heartbeat when we're gestating. So it's like we're so wired for rhythm. The heart, the breath, our circadian rhythm. We sleep and wake, our menstrual rhythm. So we have so much rhythmic, we're wired for rhythm. We have, we eat, we digest in rhythm. We have all these incredible rhythms, and the cosmos has all this rhythm. So yeah, I love this native perspective that the drum is the heartbeat, right? We all have that inner drum.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like the heartbeat and this drum in particular, this buffalo drum, I play also djembe and frame drum but most in congas. But what I really love is this buffalo drum for more ceremonial healing work. It's also a great thing to do if you're preparing for a session, if you're preparing for anything to help an animal, to help connect your intuition, just drumming. And I want to tell you the secret formula, 4 minutes minimum, because I studied people, and at 4 minutes, we fall into the rhythm. So I think a lot of us try to learn a beat and then we can't learn it, we give up. But it takes time. It takes time to entrain. And we take that 4 minutes, and maybe we can do that if we have time on this call, is just to hear what it's like to listen to a beat for 4 minutes. It's very interesting. At 3 minutes, people's breathing changes, their shoulders relax. I studied this with non-drummers. And then at 4 minutes, there's a click that happens and people just get there. So if I can just remind myself to really play for long enough, duration is important in sound healing. It's kind of like a doctor prescribes medicine for the animal or something, and it's like, take 2 pills, they take 3 hours to upload, into the body. So the drum is kind of a very speedy upload, but it does take a duration of time to fall into sync with that sound. And it can be any drum track you love. It can be, our ears are not used to just listening to a drum beat because we listen to modern music with a piano and a guitar and a drum set. But when we listen to one sound, and we allow our mind to focus into just that one beat, we have a practice we call the silent drum, because after you drum for 5 minutes, then you sit in silence and you feel the beat continue in your body, because we are the drum. And then you just can sit still easier. Drumming is an active form of meditation.
Mm-hmm. So in fact, what you say, it's great for people who can't meditate, because a lot of people can't kind of calm the mind and just sit and do they start kind of one thought and another thought, and then it's the highway. So in fact, the drum can help with it, because you focus on the rhythm. So you don't have
on the
time to
rhythm
think.
and also the drum. So rhythm is defined as the element of music pertaining to forward motion. So what happens with the drum is you get out of your head, because especially when you're drumming along, because then you can't really think in drum. But also what happens is it's normal when you sit and be still that you notice your mind. It's normal. We act like, oh, I failed in meditation, I have thoughts. Well, come on. We all have thoughts.
Yeah.
But after you drum and you feel the movement of the drum, you might think something comes into your mind. You don't fight it. You just go, oh. But then it's gone by the next beat, because drumming is forward motion. One of the first meditations I ever learned was, imagine that your thoughts are like leaves falling into a stream, and then watch them float down the stream. It's like, oh, nature imagery helps me. So I think the drum, I did find in my studies that people often have imagery with the drum, or with the drum and the voice. It's another sacred combination, the drum and the voice, the drum and the flute. And I did find that people had images come in for healing. And when I was drumming, and one woman said she saw this buffalo came up and put its head in front of her. I'm like, wow, I didn't say, imagine you're in a field with a buffalo. It's just spontaneous healing imagery. And that was about her, path. And I was like, you should maybe go see if you can find a bison field, because that's your path speaking to you. Yeah. So maybe you want to try that experiment?
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want to be the timer?
Okay, I'll be the timer, and
Great.
I show you with the finger that it's time, okay?
Yeah, perfect. So we're just going to invite everybody to close your eyes. I wonder if I can do both at the same time. Do you hear that?
Yes.
put the reverb on so we have a good sound. Okay. Time is up. Okay. Wow.
Wow. It's, you can, oh, I speak for myself. I could, the drum was one with my heartbeat. Like the whole body, I could feel it within the whole body. The beating was within the whole body. Amazing.
It's amazing how long 4 minutes is.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was pretty short, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good sign of that network of our brain of just not being in the time. I was also thinking it was short, so,
Yeah.
you know, but it's good to feel present
Mm.
for a few minutes. And then the other piece is to just sit after that and just notice what arises and feel if like right now I could still feel the beat, right? It's still in me. Boom, boom, boom. I can feel exactly what it was, the tempo, everything is still present. I'm not
You know,
playing, but I can
yeah.
still feel it.
And the body kind of like Pumping. I don't know how to say it differently.
Yes. Yes, because we move to rhythm. Like our bodies are in training. That's entrainment. We are moving. There's one other experiment that it would be really fun to do with you today,
Okay.
because this is like my favorite example of how much we are wired for rhythm, because we are animals, right? We have a very reptilian brain still in our minds. So this is an exercise with a djembe drum,
Oh, I love
which
djembe drum.
yeah, which is a West African drum. And this is a practice of noticing entrainment. Give me 1 second to grab the drum.
Okay.
And this is a synthetic Remo djembe that I travel with because it's much lighter than a full West African carved goat skin djembe, but it has a good sound. And basically, what I'm going to ask you to do is hold perfectly still.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to play for a couple of minutes. And while you hold still, everybody, don't move. Your neck is going to want to bob, your feet might want to tap, but don't move. And by resisting the rhythm, you're going to notice where the rhythm is in your body, mostly where you feel it, because that's where your body needs a rhythm today. So here we go.
Actually, the hardest part was not to move.
That's because entrainment pulls you.
Yeah. But you're right, because I had a bad sleep today and I had a horrible headache since the morning and I could feel exactly the
Amazing.
part where it was the worst. So it's but when you hear the drum, it kind of like you would go and move the body, the groove, just go with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to hold still when we're
Absolutely.
feeling the rhythm. So those are my little experiences to offer you and your listeners today, and just to feel, how much we really are connected.
Mhm.
And I think probably in your work, like my work has in common, is that we have to connect. We have
Yes.
to be most connected to our higher forces and our higher guides and consciousness and energies, and ourselves, and then the animals or the people, and just being connected to you and I in this moment. And when you make music together, even just you're listening and I'm playing, this bond gets created. We call it the music bridge.
Mhm.
I've seen it with enemy groups in war zones. I've seen it with disaster areas. When people play music together, they have this bond. We didn't
Mhm.
even talk. How is it possible?
Mhm.
It's possible because it's like we are talking actually.
When you mentioned the war zone, you worked in northern Iraq with people there. What is it about rhythm that allows people to communicate when they don't share the same language, religion, or culture, or opinions.
I think it's because words communicate thoughts and music communicates energy and heart. And even if you were on the Sunni versus Shia Muslim, or I was working in northern Iraq in Suleimania, and with enemy groups and a peace project that really worked. Actually, it was written up in the United Nations Compendium of Peacemaking Through Music because this group of 40 people from different language groups speaking Arabic, Kurdish, Aramaic, Muslims, Yazidis, Christians, all these people got to form more of a sense of community after 5 days. So we put that together in a little study in that article. But the point is, yeah, I really found that in it, words communicate thoughts, and those are important. We would have to stop and have translators, and it was a 3-ring circus. I would speak English, Arabic, Kurdish,
Mhm.
But then when we would play music, boom.
Mhm.
Didn't even if you spoke Kurdish or Arabic, what we discovered is everybody spoke drums and
Mhm.
everybody said doom, doom, taka, doom, doom, taka, taka. Everybody used doom for the
Mhm.
low sound and tak for the high sound. So even if you couldn't speak Arabic or Kurdish or English, you could say doom, taka, taka, doom, taka, tak, and everyone knew what you meant. So
Okay.
it's kind of like I felt like very blessed to do that project. I mean, it was really scary
Yeah.
to go there in 2005 in the war zone in northern Iraq, and I dyed my hair brown and wore a headscarf, and it was, it wasn't a place to, it was a serious, scary experience, but people just started to drum together, and all that resistance so slowly after 2 days started to fall away. We had 5 days with this group. So it took really 2 days for that resistance to
Mhm.
kind of fall away with the drumming. And then it really got interesting. People started bringing in their flutes and their knives and their, violins and playing songs in the drumming. And, it became kind of like cultural sharing. And I think that was what really made peace. And really, what I learned was the peacemaking happened in the silence. So we would drum all day, and then there'd be a big stop, and there'd be this silence that was just like what we just felt. Like you could still feel the beat, and we would sometimes just sit for 8 minutes, and nobody would make a sound. And I always said to my team, I feel like it's these moments, these 8 minutes of silence, comfortable silence, when we've really made peace. So you
Yeah.
notice the silence in your life, and you see it in nature. You see it with animals. Animals like lying in a field, being quiet. Like, wow, silence is important.
Yeah. Actually, when I feel what you're saying is that we stopped creating the music. We are just consumers.
Yep.
But once you start playing it and you create it, like there were so many different cultures and very different cultures. But once they created something together, and it was the music, it was the drumming,
Totally.
it went just amazing. It's fantastic.
Amazing. It's a human language. It's a human necessity. It's more than entertainment. It's so much more than entertainment. It's, in the war zone, music was like a lifeboat. It was like people would just, and especially when I work with refugees who are displaced, they hear their cultural songs and rhythms, and it's just like they're home. They just go home on those musical songs.
Mhm.
So, our songs are very important to us, and let's not forget that.
And like the different cultures reminded me your new global rhythm shanga that
Yeah.
brings together rhythm from literally the whole world.
Yeah, the whole world. We want teachers from Czech Republic, so help us.
Oh, And
We basically made this project 7 years ago during COVID
mhm,
to meet online and have every month a different cultural master teacher for healing. So just Saturday we had Carolyn Brandy teaching us Oba Tala Rumba from the Afro-Cuban Santeria tradition for peace. So,
mhm.
it's just learning from different teachers, everything from we had Jamie Papish teaching us Ayub, a Middle Eastern trance rhythm, Iranian Middle Eastern trance rhythm. You just play that rhythm for 10 minutes and you're gone. And, you want to hear it? It's a beautiful
Yes,
rhythm.
yeah, yeah, please.
It can be played on the doumbek or the frame drum,
Oh, I
but
love
it,
this one.
yeah,
When I hear you with this drum, it's amazing.
yeah, this
Yeah,
one
this
has
one
like
has
a
like a
bass. So
fantastic.
we call that rhythm doom ka doom tak.
Doom, doom, tag.
Yeah, because that's what you're playing. You're playing doom ka doom tak, doom
Okay.
ka doom tak. So we have these languages. They sound like animals, right? Doom ka doom tak. What are you talking about? Because doom means center, tak means a side, and ka means the other hand.
Oh, okay.
Doom, ka doom, tak. Doom, ka doom, tak. Doom. And it's beautiful to sing it. Doom, ka doom, tak. Doom, ka doom, tak. Doom, ka doom, tak. Doom. So we
Oh,
recite the drum sounds. But anyway, that was a fun drum rhythm we learned from Jamie Papish. And, every month we study a different cultural rhythm thanks to Zoom.
oh, it's amazing. What?
Thanks to Zoom, the whole
Yeah.
world is getting together. I'd still like to find, more teachers, always looking for more teachers. We do kind of focus a little more on, I would say, Egyptian, Latin, African, Sufi rhythms. Yeah, but we're always open to new teachers.
Yeah, that reminds me, world rhythm. They seems to carry each the rhythm carries the story, value, spirit
Yeah.
of each of the culture. Is drum? Drum is not the oldest instrument, or is it?
No, probably the flute because the drum required that hoop
Okay.
shape. One of the earliest drums was a carved out log that was played with sticks.
Mhm.
And now we call it tawade. But yeah, the flute, they have found one in the German cave from 60,000 years old, carved from a
60.
bird bone.
Wow.
Yeah, with three holes. I've seen some of those old flutes in museums. Yeah. and they were made from bones from birds. And some of the earliest drums were made from bones and skulls from monks in Tibet. So, we really, even now there's an instrument in Peru that's used from a donkey's jaw, and you shake it. So there's a lot of cool ways that the connection to animals and definitely plants and nature inspired. I mean, the goat skin on a djembe, right? The buffalo hide of a buffalo drum. So it's really fun to talk to you, because I feel like you've helped me remember that there's so much connection between the animal and the sound and the music. And, I think just for your listeners, it's really fun too to make instruments from nature. I wanted to just show you one that I made. Let's see. Okay, this one is really easy to make because this one's just shells that were caught together from some seaweed. And then this one is a sea kelp rattle. So you just take the sea kelp bulb and dry it and fill it with pebbles from the ocean.
Oh.
These are really soft. They're seed pods from Joshua trees.
Oh, we don't have to. I don't think we have
No,
to.
you don't have this one.
No.
Okay, then you might have limpets. They're a shell at the ocean.
Oh, we don't have ocean. We are in the middle of Europe.
Oh. These are lovely.
They can be bought.
Yes. That's kind of the main. Oh, here's something I made. This is really great. These are seed pods from a tree.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just a tree that grows outside of a grocery store in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know the name of this tree, but seed pods are really fun. And of course, gourds. Oh, gourd rattles. I love this Navajo gourd rattle with feathers. Even I'm curing a couple of these that I found.
Wow.
This is just gourds.
So anything we find in the nature can be formed into some instrument if we want to.
Yeah. There's so much we can create from nature, and many instruments comes from nature. Yeah. So have fun, make a rattle, and making rattle is the easiest thing. And even finding, I'll tell you, the last thing I'll tell you that's really cool is most traditional rattles. I think I have a good example somewhere here. Well, I mean, one good example is the frog.
Oh yes, that's what we have in. You can buy it as a souvenir sometimes. Yeah. Actually, in fact, you need just 2 sticks. 2 sticks can be great.
2 sticks, yes, and driftwood in a streamline. This is a blue corn rattle. So this is for the women's corn dance, and in here is corn. You can kind of see them actually.
Oh, it's the black corn.
Yeah, just corns, and there's a couple of colors of corns in there, and some rabbit fur, and so I think even making. But I'll tell you, the cool thing is that most native rattles come from the anthill pebbles. So if you've ever seen the big circle where the ants go into the earth, the ants kick up the little pebbles. And so there's always a little pile in a circle of pebbles on the outside of an anthill. Those are one of the things that we use in rattles in the native Lakota culture, because the ants just did all that work.
Wow.
And the ants go down into the earth, and they did all that work to clean all those pebbles for us. But you can find pebbles on the shore. You can pretty much make that. The cool thing about rattles is rattles are for new beginnings. They're seeds usually. So they represent new beginnings. So if you're going through a big change in your life, it's good to have a rattle to call in something new.
Oh, that's beautiful. Easy and beautiful.
Yes, and the other thing you can do, we can use your name for an example,
Okay.
is to drum your name.
Okay. I have no drum.
No, I'm going to drum it for you.
Oh, you drum for it.
So
Šárka.
say your full name.
Šárka Janouchová.
Shakye.
Šárka, like shark.
Sharka.
Okay. Janouchová. It's not, is
Yanokova.
it? Janouchová,
No, it's
yeah.
great. Yanokova, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's sweet.
Yanokova. I bet people get it wrong all the time.
It's beautiful.
Yanokova. 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 Okay. Sharkya kanokava. Sharkya kanokava. Sharkya
Janouchová.
kanokava.
Janouchová.
This is the beat of your name. One, two, one, two, three, four.
Beautiful. Now everybody will remember my name.
And you can drum the name of your animal. You can drum, drumming a name is a very good way to honor a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love, like recently, what I saw in your work is that you more and more talk about rhythm and sounds of the nature. And like in your teaching, you talk about when you sit silently by a river or listen to the wind in a tree. Is that also music? I suppose, based on what we were talking about, that it is. And do you think nature has its own drum circle?
Well, I think it's interesting sound versus music. So nature is always sounding,
Mhm.
and music is the ears of the perceiver. Like, am I hearing the music? I don't know. I'm hearing the sound of it. The soundscape is a good word for nature, like landscape. So nature has a soundscape. And you can see this in animals that come from a certain habitat and now they're being held in a different habitat. They play the sound from where they are from and the animals immediately relax, right? Because they're like, that's the sound of the jungle or the sound of the wherever it is. And so it's great to listen for the soundscape of nature. Yeah, if you join my YouTube channel, Upbeat Drum Circles, I post a lot of flute postcards and rhythm postcards. So I play the drum and the flute in wild places. So I connect to the sounds. I just recently was playing in a Peruvian, Incan cave, and that was amazing to sing in that cave and drum. So I like to combine my love of nature and the outdoors with music as a bridge to communicate with the earth, singing with the earth. So I think the nature is always sounding. It's our first orchestra on the planet. The second instrument on the planet is water, right? It's like water. We love listening to streams. We love listening to waterfalls, oceans, and we are like 70% water. So naturally I kind of put that more in a category of a healing sound versus music, because to me, music is more of a kind of it depends on our listening, and it's kind of a developed aspect of sound, because sound is healing sound is what I feel from nature, soundscapes. And I like to be the song that joins it, you know?
Mhm.
I love the wind gusts. Like one of my favorites is the wind blowing strong through the leaves of the aspen. And they kind of have that quaking, shimmering, or even pines. And when you hear a wind gust and it comes from far away and you hear it coming through the trees, you know what I mean? And it's like, you finally feel it. Like it's,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
heard it from forever ago and then you finally feel it.
yeah. And because when I communicate with animals, my kind of main source of how I'm getting information is seeing, and I love to see the wind. You can see the
Yeah,
wind.
you can see the
Beautiful.
wind.
It's just
When it pushes the grass down, it's amazing. So yeah, you can really enjoy that, and you can be part of the music. You can hum along. I love to drum outside. You know, sometimes it's both goes both ways. I'll play my flute, a bird will sing back.
oh, oh.
I mean, you probably have this over there. These little, I don't know, these little bird whistles that you put water in them. They're ceramic.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys probably have these.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me, you mentioned once the study about 2 years old, they can create music
Yeah.
uh, without even being taught. And yet, when we are adults, you can often hear, oh, I can't sing, I don't have the rhythm, blah, 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 blah. What what happens between the 2 years old and the adult that we lose it?
Well, usually our creative peak is age 6.
Mhm.
And so once we get into school, we start learning and we start compressing some of our, you know, more wild intuitive sounds and experiences. But yeah, that's a great study that came out of Laurel Trainer's lab with child development that 2 year olds, without ever being taught how, make up songs. It's the songwriting instinct. And if you've seen this around a little kid, it's hilarious. They're like, I'm waiting for the bus. I'm waiting for the bus, the bus. You know, just like watching children do this is hilarious. And then we suppress that as we age because our creative peak is age 6. So you can feel when you get into being creative that it's anti-aging,
Mhm.
you know, because it is. You're accessing your 6-year-old self. And, you know, the other day I was with my niece and I remembered when she was 5, we used to sit outside and look at clouds and she would tell me, oh, there's a turtle. Oh, there's an elephant.
Yeah, we do that too, yes. And actually, I do that till now, Sometimes I lie in the garden and watch the clouds and kind of like, oh, that's this and this, and it change in this animal, and I do that till now because time stops when we do that.
Time is and it's just expansive, and some of the earliest meditation practices are like sitting by rivers or cloud gazing and sky practices, sky mind practices. So yeah, I think it's very much connected, and there's it's always good to feel like research supports something we intuitively know, and there's a lot of good research supporting how innate musical expression is. No learning required. And I think that's what I had to overcome with the drum was the
Mhm.
realization that oh, this is a different kind of music. I don't need to hold sticks and count and read music papers. I'm just going to express myself in this language of the drum. And the drum helps me create that consistent pattern. My life is very inconsistent. Life is full of change. I pick up the drum, I get to say how fast, how slow, how long. I have total control and I can be consistent. And that's so healing in this crazy world we're in.
Mhm.
It's like petting an animal. It's like we don't randomly pet an animal. We find a rhythm.
Mhm.
We all know that rhythm is soothing.
Yeah, but how to overcome the shaming? Because we very often kind of feel like, oh, I would love to try it, But we are afraid, we are kind of ashamed that, oh, I will not be good enough, or, everybody has her own
Yep.
threshold that has to overcome. How to
And
overcome
for
it?
very good reason. Those insults really sting. And they usually happen when we're young. We're told we can't sing well. We're kicked out of the choir. Paul McCartney was kicked out of the choir.
Oh,
You know, there's many great stories of famous musicians. George Gershwin was kicked out of the band, of these great musicians that were told you can't sing, you don't have, you can't play.
yeah. So try it. Just
So I think it's really important it still will be hard. It's
mhm,
always hard at first. And that's why I think groups help when you're in a
mhm,
group and there's a lot of people playing music and you literally can't play off the beat because the entrainment is so strong, right?
mhm,
Groups help.
mhm.
And um, it's very different than singing solo on a stage. It's terrifying. And having a different consciousness about it, I'm not playing to be good.
Mhm.
I'm playing for the benefit of how my body feels after I sing.
Mhm.
Humming. I know I love music, I'm just connecting to it for the benefits of during COVID, the British Society created a singing class to help improve people's breathing because
Mhm.
singing extends our exhale. We breathe better with our diaphragm. It has all these health benefits.
Mhm.
So coming into singing or music or drumming, knowing that, yeah, I'm terrified. I'm comparing myself to some pedestal performers, but this is not music with a capital M. This is why I like the word sound. I'm enjoying the sounding of this, or I'm just playing music with a small m.
That's
Is
beautiful.
actually the funny thing is when I train people, I find that the people who have had no experience with music do better
Mhm.
at being intuitive musicians because the people who have been trained in music have a lot more to unlearn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In your playing drums for healing program, you connect different drums with elements of nature. You were talking about the buffalo drum, and even when I was reading about it, I could feel connected with the elemental forces. What is about the rhythm and the elements that can affect us so deeply?
It's our DNA, we're wired this way.
Mhm.
Many origin stories say we come from the dirt.
Mhm.
So I think it's our getting back to who we really are. We're such an advanced culture. We've learned computers, we've learned all these great things, but our happiness scores are going down.
Mhm.
Our stress levels are going up. Our stress related illnesses, our inflammation illnesses are all on a rise. So, culturally, what's missing in our country in America? We've lost a lot of music in our schools and
Mhm.
we've lost arts in our schools. And so I'm concerned that we're training really good mathematicians and science minded people and technology people. But what about these human qualities? So, a lot of times when people come to a drum circle and play for the first time, they cry. Or you
Mhm.
mentioned having tears. And I wanted to explain that principle. It's called reunion grief. And it means reconnecting with something you've been longing for but didn't know you lost.
Mhm.
It's like greeting someone at the train station and you miss them so much and they get there and you don't cry until you hug them. In the embrace, in the reunion, you cry, which is illogical. You should cry when they're gone. But we cry in the reunion. So when we reunite with these soul food, soul care things, sound, petting an animal, and, being in nature. And I think the biggest challenge is time, like scheduling time for this, because it's not urgent. It's, in a sense it is, because I feel like a much better, happy person when I'm dancing or singing. Or I was thinking of that great quote about the shamans. When someone's ill, they go to the shaman. The first question the shaman asks is, when is the last time you sang? When is the last time you danced? That's an important question for me, for you, for everybody listening. When is the last time you sat in nature, or when you sang or you danced? So I think it's because we miss those deep DNA healing who we really are feelings. Mm-hmm. And we all love music. I mean, when I ask people, there's nobody who says I don't like music. I mean, we all have musical preferences. We know it's important. But this is a different approach of actually playing, not just listening, but playing in some way. Dancing to a rhythm is also a great example of being part of the rhythm. So I think what I've learned mostly in a lot of years of this work is to realize that it takes time to change this lifestyle, and to live a lifestyle that is more resonant with nature and health and music, and get people together to play music and do it in my life, and schedule it as important as anything, as a meditation practice. You can meditate and drum at the same time. I sing and play music at the same time a lot as meditation, prayer songs, chants, kirtan. So it's a happy path. It gives you a lot of happiness. And it's important time right now to feel hopeful. Mm-hmm. And I always find when I leave music, I feel like it tunes me, like that's sort of what it undoes. It undoes the kind of busyness that I have by nature in my default network, and it gets me into that higher consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that's a good reason to do it. And we have to overcome the fear. There's absolutely fear. Nobody wants to make a mistake. Nobody wants to sound bad. We're all afraid of playing on the wrong beat. I've done it. Guess what? The beat goes on.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, but it keeps going. I've had that terrifying experience on stages, making mistakes. I know it's terrifying. And at the same time, the beat goes on. There's another stage, there's another day. It's like learning to forgive yourself. We're never going to be perfect at anything the first times, and there's a lot of new instruments that are very forgiving. The drum is a great forgiving instrument, like things that are pre-tuned, that there's no wrong notes. Happy drum, handpan, kalimbas. These things are like old indigenous instruments where there's no wrong note. Start there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can play a shaker wrong. I mean, you just shake it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, when we used to teach health rhythms, my partner, Dr. Barry Bittman, would say, okay, let me give you your first drum lesson. Watch very carefully, everybody.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yes.
It's funny. I think the last thing I want to say about all this is that, because you communicate with animals, is I just want to tell you this funny story. When I was invited to do a drum circle to a women's horseback riding club, and in Hollywood, and I just passed out the drums, and right away, I didn't say anything. They started drumming like horses. Seriously, it was like. It was a galloping beat.
Oh.
And then I started noticing a lot of music that comes from horse cultures has this little bounce to it. Siberian, Kurdish, Latin American cultures that are very horse-based. So I don't know, it's something to think about, but I have a little theory that
Uh-huh.
when people were more on horseback, definitely native cultures, Plains Indian songs have this beat a lot. We're riding a horse.
So
So I think
it's
there's
in
a
the
very,
body and it gets through the drum out, right?
totally.
What is difference between healing and awakening?
The difference is that healing is something we are missing.
Hmm.
There's the idea of health is wholeness and a kind of balance of body, mind, spirit. Awakening is more of a word that we use for having a spiritual experience, maybe mystical experience, having a more spiritual consciousness. Kind of awakening is more of a consciousness, and healing is typically more of a, like feeling better in body, mind, or spirit.
Mhm. Thank you, Christine, for all the wisdom you shared.
It was really
I would
fun
have,
meeting
I
you.
would have last question, and then I would ask you if you play a little bit more something.
Sure.
Uh, we have spoken about the rhythms and the heart, earth, nature, community. What would be the one simple thing that people could do today? Start listening to their rhythm and start creating their own rhythm.
I have a free class on the internet. It's called Four Essential Rhythms of Life. And I would say start there
Hmm.
because it's a really great class. It goes through heartbeat, dancing, walking, resting, because rhythms begin in us. And
Hmm.
that's a good one. You can always tap your heart. You can also use a 5-gallon water jug or 3-gallon, turn it upside down and drum on it. Those don't cost much. And I think just starting there. And then I do have some great play along music free on the internet on Spotify, Christine Stevens play along tracks. They're called Drumming Up Diva, Drumming Up Spirit, Reviving Rhythms. And so they all go for 7 to 12 minutes because I found that that 4-minute mark is the key. And you
Okay.
can play along to it, you can dance along to it, and try to sort of feel into your own rhythm. And
I'll
that's
add,
what happens when you improvise.
I'll add all the links down below the video so people can
Thank you.
try to
And
find.
certainly, I will invite you to our Global Rhythm Sangha. Come and be
Yeah.
with us. It's a whole 9 months of different teachers and one teacher a month. I think it's a good pace, try to learn one rhythm a month.
And do we need the drum? Because
You need a drum.
you need a drum. Okay.
Everybody's got a drum. It can be as simple as a frame drum. Those are like under $50 US,
Mhm.
but everybody's got a drum. And I'm
Okay.
thinking what I can play for you to end, what I haven't, let me think about what I haven't played in this beautiful space today. Yeah, I do have something. Maybe I can play this as we close our time together. This is a double barrel flute and also probably first made in clay in Mexico and Latin cultures, but then became in cedar. This is a high spirits flute. And it's in F sharp. And the reason I like this key is it's thought of as the earth frequency.
Mhm.